Hello and welcome to Will Do Words. We are your hosts, Carly
and Zoe. So, what's your highlight from this week, Carly?
I've been a little under the weather, so my highlight is now feeling better.
Love that.
Yes. What is your highlight of this week?
I'm a very food-focused individual, and I tried a new recipe this week, and it was a Spanish one.
Oh.
And every bar that we go to, it's like, okay, we have to have margarita because it's so nice. And I think we could do this at home. I said I tried the recipe. I didn't. My partner cooked everything. I came home and ate it, but it was really, really good. So that was my highlight. So, in case you haven't already noticed, we love to travel.
Us? No.
Someone said it, not me. I don't know who.
Yes, it is in fact true that we do love to travel.
Yeah. And why not? Give me a reason why not.
I cannot think of one at all. There are none.
Exactly. There's so many reasons to love it.
Yeah. But one of our favorites is because of the experiences we gain and all the new things that we learn and take along the way.
Like a little train, you know, and we've got all of our carriages of all of our learning along the way.
Yeah, so it's fun baggage.
Yeah, so today you're going to jump on the train with us a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're going to try and stick to our timeline. But buckle up because we can get excited and we're gonna get this train rolling.
Get on our travel train.
Settle in and get comfy.
Yeah.
So Carly, you're gonna start us off.
Yeah.
You're our first stop on the travel train. So what has learning abroad look like for you?
Yeah, so I have been fortunate enough to have several different experiences learning abroad. So in the more traditional sense, I have studied abroad, right? So for me, I studied abroad 2 different times. So once was the 5 months, which is an entire university semester, and I went to Barcelona, which is one of my favorite cities and definitely shaped my current situation of living and working in Spain because that kind of gave me the test and the longevity, I guess, within those 5 months. Like, it's not just a vacation, you're actually living and being in this community of like, oh, okay, so if I did it for 5 months, then I think I can go back and do it for longer. So what it was, taking university classes in a university there in Barcelona, and it was less classes and like working in a job for university than I was used to. So I had a lot of free time, and with that free time, traveling on the weekends was really fun and easy. So having that base point in Barcelona to then travel to different European countries and also different spots in Spain, and also just having more time, I learned that I love to walk around cities. Well, I think I learned this before, but knowing that I'm just going to strap my sneakers on, put in some headphones, one headphone so that I can hear what's going on around me.
Safety first.
Yes. But just kind of wandering where my feet took me, right? So sometimes I would be walking around the city 5, 6, 7 hours a day, and be like, oh, okay, I guess I should probably head back now. I can't feel my legs. Let me jump on the bus back to my apartment. But in that experience of walking the whole city, I feel like I walked almost every other street, which was really fun. And just the first time that I was in a country far away from family, in the city that didn't have easy access to go home for the weekend like I was at university. So just like learning to be happy with myself and make new friends and try new things, and yeah, so that was my study abroad experience, which obviously led me back to Spain now, which is why we're here.
Really?
Yes. My other study abroad experience I had was a summer class that I took in Greece, which was absolutely fantastic. So
how did you manage to skip the system so much so that you had a class?
Yes.
In Greece.
So
in summer.
Yes, it was the anthropology of the Mediterranean diet, which was the best class, I think. Well, one of the best classes I ever took. which was essentially learning about the culture and the food of Greece and the people, and it was fantastic.
It's like Mamma Mia meets university spring break.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I was living every single Mamma Mia dream that I had ever had because I love Mamma Mia and it's a big movie in my family. So I was essentially just singing ABBA the entire 4 weeks that I was there on repeat in my head and out loud for all to hear.
So your university is now going to be inundated with applications for this program.
I hope so,
right?
because it's fantastic.
Wow.
So for the people that are students that are not necessarily with the ability to take those 5 months in a semester, I highly recommend going for either a summer, or some universities also have week study abroads. I didn't do the week study abroad classes, but I think that even just dipping your toe into the water of travel is fantastic.
Yes. I'm just thinking about my uni experiences. I got to go to the Waikato River.
Which sounds cool for me.
So, wow. Okay, so 2 amazing university experiences.
Yes, so Greece was pretty cool. Barcelona was equally as awesome. Different experiences, but equally as important learning. I think just realizing that you can learn so much from just being in a new place, a new city, a new culture, and kind of taking everything that is in and around you and soaking it all in.
So you've got a Greece sponge and a Spain sponge in the back of your travel train at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, what else? What other carriages have we got on there?
My other really very impactful trips that I've taken that were in a sense of learning and choosing to travel for learning experiences was I did 2 service immersion trips while I was in university. The first one was to Ecuador, and the second one was to the Dominican Republic. So this was a week of volunteering and service, and also immersion in the sense of you're going into this community and you know that you're only going to be here for a set period of days and you can only do so much. But it's also about listening to the stories of different people, different cultures, and different socioeconomic statuses, and realizing that we are one big world and we need to support each other and help each other because there are so many different perspectives and situations that are happening. And I think specifically the first one I did to Ecuador really just kind of shifted my worldview of like, oh wow, like service is a really important thing for learning about yourself, but also helping those people who are less fortunate than you, but also knowing that from them, the biggest takeaway was their hope. And I think having hope in any situation is really one of the most important things that you can have. A smile, a laugh, a song, and hope. You know, in any situation that you're really in.
So true.
Yeah. And I also, another learning trip that I took was in high school. I was about 15. It was the first trip I took alone without my mom.
That's a big shift.
It was a big deal. We came to Europe, so it was my first time in Europe, to Spain and Italy, and that was a paid-for guided tour, and it was equally as awesome. It was the first time I was kind of going on a curated experience where you get on the bus, you know you're going to these places, with less flexibility, but also like you know you're going to see everything and somebody is explaining everything to you the whole time. And I think that's where I developed the love of my free walking tours in any city that I go in, to kind of learn as much as you can about the place that you are in, with the cultures and the people and the food and the spirit. So those are my very, very quickly my 4 biggest learning abroad experiences. Yeah.
But obviously, you know, you've travelled a lot more as well,
Yes.
not specifically for learning purposes.
Correct.
Have you continued to learn even if you're travelling for holidays or vacations?
Yes. I think I had always found those free walking tours or done tours on any trip that I've gone to, but now after having those different experiences, I'm definitely more intentional when I do go to a new place to learn about the place that I'm in. Just even if it's one day or 2 days, but finding something to really immerse yourself in that new place that you're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
I think it's so important.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most important parts of traveling, because you can travel just to find a new restaurant, but if you don't really know what's going on around you, you're missing half of it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Hands down agree. And just gonna jump and talk about myself now.
Yes, please let me ask you, what has your learning abroad looked like?
Very different for you, very different to your experience. Purely because at university I was learning about the New Zealand curriculum to teach in New Zealand. The one opportunity that I did have to go and travel abroad, COVID came knocking, and no one else was knocking on my door after that for a very long time. So I didn't get to travel through uni, but it's not something that I regret, because fortunately I have had a lot of travel in my life anyways. Similar to you, when my big first trip away from my family was when I was 14, and it was to Spain.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, 10 years later, here I am. And
I think she sucked us all in.
I think so. It's safe to say we've all had a love affair with Spain.
Yes.
I think for me, the thing that amazes me, and I keep coming back to it wherever I go, is New Zealand is a very young country. Very young. And coming to Spain, seeing all of this architecture and all of these things that were built years upon years upon years ago, and in New Zealand they weren't even speaking English then, and the civilization looked very different back home. So it's I find that absolutely fascinating to wrap my head around, and I think that was my biggest learning, is just how vastly different cultures are and how rich the Spanish culture is, and obviously learning about the language was huge. But it helps put things into perspective for me when you see all these problems happening in your own country, and then you go somewhere else and you see same problems, or you see different problems. It's like, okay, well, we're actually all part of the same rat race here.
Yeah.
Some people have more experience, some people have less, but we all sort of end up at the same end goal. So that was Spain. I was then fortunate enough to go on a World Challenge program, through the World Challenge program, to Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan.
So what is the World Challenge?
Okay, so in a nutshell, it's a worldwide program, and it takes kids from schools for 3 weeks trips to normally like lower economically developed countries, and really rich cultural countries. I mean, I think every country is rich in culture in its own way.
Absolutely.
And so you do a week of sightseeing. So for me, that was going along the Silk Road, which was incredible. And
really cool.
Again, it comes back to the history, and learning about the history and learning about the culture was just fascinating, and the stories that people tell. And then from there, we did a week of mountaineering. So we summited a snowy capped mountain. A lot of personal learning and growth there. My goodness, that has like 3 characters on my travel train, because holy moly. Fast forward to the end of the mountain, I ended up having a rope tied around my waist, the instructor walking in front of me, and just kept walking. And so my choice was to put one foot in front of the other or get dragged face first through the snow. But it taught me that I can do really hard stuff.
Yeah.
If I have a rope tied around my waist and don't have a choice. And then we did a week of volunteer work. So we were in a village that was in an oasis in the middle of the desert. That was 7 hours from the nearest big city. The kids walked an hour to get to school in the morning. Some more so. There was no high school in the area. We were repainting the school. We were digging a well. We were just playing with the kids and just interacting with them. And that really hit home for me. And I think my other travel experiences as well. So I'm going to just skip forward a little bit. I've also travelled through Cambodia. I've travelled through Bali. I've travelled to quite a few different of the Polynesian islands. And one thing that keeps hitting home is our perception of happiness.
Yeah.
And yeah, what you need to be happy. And I just keep coming back to it's the people around you.
Yep.
It's not what you have, it's who you have.
Exactly.
And so that was a huge learning for me, you know, as a young adult, realising that it doesn't matter if I have all these gizmos and gadgets, it's the who.
I think that was a big part of what I learned from in Ecuador as well. When you go into these situations, you're like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's who. And that's the most important part of.
It's really confronting to wrap your head around that when you come from a country that has everything.
Yes.
And I'd love to talk even more about this, but we did say we're going to stick on our timeline. So yeah, I think my two big learnings is just the culture and the people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm a big advocate for travel.
Yes.
And even the relaxing journeys, even when you just go to relax. I mean, we went to an island just to chill out.
Yeah.
The people you meet, the stories they tell. So yeah, and that kind of sums up me because it's the culture, which is the people. And I love meeting people. I love getting to have a chat with someone new. So
yeah, I love listening to stories from people all over the world, and it really makes you realize how similar we all are. More than our differences, right?
And it just helps put everything into perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because, oh my gosh, please travel.
Yes.
Please travel.
Have a conversation with someone that is different from yourself.
Yeah. Even if it's not traveling to a different country.
Or
you can travel to a different part of the area that you live in, a different town, a different city.
Different neighborhood, really.
Yeah, they're all... You're still going to meet people who are different. You're still going to see life from a different point of view.
Yeah, and especially in such a diverse and globalized world that we live in today, which is really cool to have all those different perspectives a little bit closer than maybe before.
Absolutely. And as we said,
on our travel train. We're coming up to the station.
Yes.
This was definitely a quick little look into some of the different experiences that we've had and that we highly recommend for other people to take on, experience, travel in your own sense and what makes you feel comfortable. But opening some ears maybe to the different possibilities that are out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, you never know what's out there. There's so many amazing travel opportunities, so many amazing learning through travel opportunities.
Exactly.
The internet's a wonderful place, guys.
Yeah. Search some either guided trips if you don't necessarily feel comfortable planning your own trip. There's some really cool ones that can take you around. And
you've reminded me the guided trips. I just my little piece. If you go somewhere, because I did them as well through Spain the first time and through Cambodia. If you do not feel that you know enough about a country, but you want to learn, it is such a great way to do that. I remember going through Cambodia and the tour, we stopped off at a local school. That wasn't on the tour, the tour as advertised, but we just got talking to our tour guide and she said, so what is it you want to see? And we said, well, we want to see how you guys live. So we went to a school. We went to someone's house that was half on a lake, half off of a lake.
Interesting.
And timelines are timelines. But yeah, it's if you have a great guide, you can learn so much more than just what's advertised.
Yeah, definitely ask for the locals and to learn about their life and their situation and listen to a story.
Yeah. That's all it is at the end of the day. It's listening, looking, just getting yourself out there.
Yeah, and if you're not going to travel, which we highly recommend, read a book.
Yeah, absolutely. We are also fanatics of reading, so catch our next podcast, which will be a book club.
Not a bad idea.
No, we might take you up on that one. So that's our words for today.
Yeah.
If you go.
If you can think it, you can do it. So what will you do?
I urge you to just entertain the idea. If anything that we've said today piques your interest, you want to know a little bit more, you want to hear about Carly's summer in Greece,
Yes.
You want to hear about me having a rope tied around my waist and getting dragged up a mountain, drop us a comment, send us a message. We're here for you, so tell us what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And Instagram's the best shot. You can
Yeah.
also see our lovely faces over on YouTube if you ever want to.
Yes, please do. Come check us out.
Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode.
Yeah. And these are our Will Do Words today. This is Will Do Words. I'm Carly.
And I'm Zoe.
Until next time.
time.